Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the Talking About the Big Stuff podcast with Michael Cole and Matthew Cravat. I am Michael Cole.
And I am Matthew Cravat.
All right. So, first of all, I want to just jump right in and address the YouTube viewers.
The YouTube controversy.
Yeah. No, I am poorly lit because the sun is setting, but the sun makes this room so much better lit, so I'm not going to close the shades because you'll see by the end of the video. It is. What I was about to say was that it doesn't really matter because no lighting can make me look worse. So, anyway.
Or better for that matter.
Or better, yeah. So
no lighting. Wait, no lighting does make you look better.
Yeah, that's true. Anyway, today's topic for discussion, and we're gonna also listeners, we've got a special thing to mention, which is this is our 50th episode. So because of that, I thought we would do a two-parter. Although we're not going to call them 50A and B, we'll call them 50 and 51. I'm not fucking up the numbering system for it, but I just thought that we could do two. We're doing a get ahead anyway because of your anniversary. Next week you're going away, and I'll be away.
You know, going away is a strong term. Yeah, on Saturday, my wife tested positive for COVID. On Sunday, my daughter tested positive for COVID. This morning, my son tested positive for COVID. We are not going away next week.
No, I didn't know. Isn't the quarantine time 5 days now?
Yeah, but I mean, Joseph just got sick today, so he'll be sick into the week. And who knows? I mean, I'm just saying, who knows if they're healthy enough for us to just leave them behind or
gotcha.
Whatever. So,
yeah.
Or I may be sick by then. That's the other thing is, do I escape getting it before they all get better?
True. So, yeah, I had talked about, with you about doing this episode. You had mentioned that you were going to be potentially not able to record next week, or likely not able to record next week. And next week's not going to work great for me because I'll be getting home at like midnight on Monday from New Hampshire. And so I'll probably be pretty tired on Tuesday after work. So get ahead and two-parter. Timing-wise, could not have worked better. Topic-wise, could not have worked better. I will say, before I introduce the topic, I want to just mention one other. Actually, no, fuck it. We'll talk. Okay, the topic.
We'll do it live.
We'll do it live. Topic for today's two episodes, or this week's episode and next week's episode, is anniversaries and celebrations and commemorate.
Celebrate good times. Come on.
Well, it doesn't have to just be good times. It's just any
celebrate bad times. Come on.
Anniversary, any commemoration or memorial or anything else. So it just acknowledging the passing of time. Now, one of the things that I had hoped would happen for tonight's episodes, which did not happen, is that I wanted Adam. So for listeners, Adam was on our very first episode, and Adam is mine and Matthew's business partner. Adam and I created the idea of Chocolate Diamond 16 years ago, but Matthew, Adam, and I created the actual company back in June. So he's our business partner, although interestingly enough, him and Matthew have never met, and really, other than messaging back me in the group message, they've never talked. So
we haven't even addressed each other.
They have not even addressed each other.
He's chocolate, you're diamond, I'm media.
Yeah, you are. I mean, that kind of fits the whole thing. So, yeah. So Adam is not available to do this episode because he is on vacation with his wife celebrating their anniversary. So it was, I want to do anniversaries because it's our 50th episode. And then it just happened that your anniversary is next week and his anniversary is this week. So pretty good time. So I suppose I'll ask you this question. I know this is your wedding anniversary.
You're going to make me do math, aren't you?
No. This is your what? You already told me a couple weeks ago that this is 31 or 32.
What is it?
Well,
October.
just tell me the year. I can
Yeah,
figure it out.
31.
Yeah. So no, the
Yeah.
question I was going to ask is, do you celebrate other anniversaries with Madhavi, like first
Like
date,
other
first
people's?
kiss, anything? No, no. Like Sarah and I, we have our first. We have our wedding anniversary, and we also celebrate to some extent um, our date anniversary. Our date anniversary being our wedding anniversary is 2 days after her birthday. It's especially now that Logan's in school. It is the first week of second week of September. So like he's right in school. So it's just hard for us to do anything. So we've gone away a bunch on our dating anniversary instead, which is the first week of November.
We don't know the exact date of our first date, but what we do consider is we consider Labor Day the anniversary of us being a couple. So like, we probably went out for lunch once or twice, and did stuff like like in the end of August. That's when semester starts here. We met first week of school, and we remember distinctly that the following year, Labor Day weekend, we went away for the weekend to celebrate that it's our 1 year anniversary as a couple ish. Like we decided that then that would be the weekend we celebrate our couplehood.
Nice.
We actually, it was funny, we were going with a bunch of other people up to King's Dominion
Yeah.
in Virginia, and everyone else flaked out. So it ended up just me and her, and we're driving up I-95, and we get to the Philip Morris cigarette company on the side of the highway where there's a giant cigarette in front of the building that's like all the different labels of the cigarette brands put together. And I said, that's my landmark, that it's 6 more hours to my house or 3 hours back, to campus. And she's like, 6 hours to your house? Let's go to your house instead of King's Dominion. So we just kept driving up 95 and went to my fraternity house first and surprised my brother, I think, because he was in my old fraternity, and said, yeah, we're going to go surprise mom and dad. And he's like, idiot, it's Labor Day weekend. They're not home. They're in the Poconos for our annual Labor Day folk music party. So we went back to Brooklyn, had dinner at my friend's restaurant, spent the night in Brooklyn. The next day, drove up and crashed the party and surprised my parents at their party. And the next
Nice.
couple of years, we drove up Labor Day for the party.
Nice. All right, now back to the regular feed. So anyway, non-patrons, in case you're wondering, you just missed a great story that's an exclusive for this episode. And
great is an exaggeration. I mean,
yeah, no, I've told that story way better in the past, but no, it was not that good.
Yeah.
But it's it's a story.
Yeah, so more anniversaries. Tomorrow is the 43rd anniversary of my bar mitzvah. I will have been a man 43 years tomorrow, as of this record.
I'll have been a man 20 years next Tuesday. As we just established for patrons.
We just established. We got lots of anniversary. I got anniversary stories up the wazoo.
We can do stories, but I also want to talk about the idea of anniversaries. So like I don't know how aware you are of this, but I'm not a holiday person. I don't give a fucking shit about any holidays. I don't. I like if I could skip Christmas, I would. It's just been basically told to me that I can't. Yeah, well, you're a Jatheist, so you don't have to
as
celebrate.
My friend Chris used to say, you're a damn stinking Jew. You don't have to do Christmas.
Yeah, you're a Jatheist married to a Hindatheist, so there's no Christmas in any of that that Venn diagram.
And then my son married a Muslim, so
yeah. But I don't.
There's no Christmas.
Yeah. So yeah, there's no Christmas.
I do have a Catholic sister-in-law.
Huh. Anyway, what was I starting to say? Oh, but I didn't think we could talk about.
Care about holidays, so anniversaries probably aren't that big of a deal.
No, actually, I like anniversaries a lot. I think that I find anniversaries to be really. It's weird. Birthdays and anniversaries are more my thing than holidays. Like I don't give a fuck about
like Washington's birthday, Lincoln's birthday. Those big ones for you?
No. But like you're going to be turning 56 in a month or so. A little less than a month, right? 56 or 57?
6.
6, yeah. That's what I see. I know. November 1st,
Okay, yeah.
1957.
The way
1967.
the way I remember it is Sunday was my best friend from childhood's birthday, and
Yeah.
I call him every year on his birthday, and he's like, "Talk to you in 31 days." Click at the end, and he calls me on my birthday. We were like, we were raised in the crib together because our moms were friends. His aunt was our next door neighbor, so
Yeah.
literally when she came to see her sister, he got plopped down in my crib, so we were together since cribhood.
Yeah. And isn't your best friend now Halloween?
Yep.
See,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
doing okay.
yeah,
See,
yeah, yeah.
trying to.
What's my mother's birthday then? Come on, let's keep it up.
I'm not sure that I ever knew that.
Day before Halloween.
Oh,
Yeah. We're back to
I
back
know
to back.
that Leah's is sometime around now too, right?
It is 13 days from now. The
Okay.
16th, Monday the 16th.
Oh, nice.
She'll be 21, ladies and gentlemen. She's single, 21,
Yeah.
activist, sings like an angel.
Yeah.
Likes ramen.
So my cousin turned 21 back in June.
Doing life without parole. No one could steer me right, but Uncle Mike tried. Uncle Mike tried.
Cousin,
Sorry.
but
yeah, but you're old.
Yeah. So my cousin turned 21 in June, and her brother and I were talking when we were on vacation back in August, and he's like,
I'm gonna get her drunk and sleep with her. I'm gonna make a video.
It's his sister. It's his sister.
Make a video. It's gonna be great.
No, he was telling me. He goes.
OnlySibs.com.
No, gross. He's not Heath. He no, he was like, what her birthday is, right? I'm like, sometime in mid-June, right? He goes, yeah, June of 2002. And he goes, and there was in her graduating class in high school, there was a lot of kids that were born like the same week as her that all had the same birthday, and they all turned 21 this past June. He goes, what was 9 months before mid-June 2002? And I'm like, holy fuck. And he goes, yeah, she's a 9/11 baby.
Yeah. So that's one of the weird things is my dad and my middle son share a birthday, and we know exactly when we conceived my son because my other son was 5 months old, so there weren't very many opportunities.
Yeah.
So we know exactly. So I'm like, I know when my dad was conceived because it was actually on Valentine's Day. I'm like, wow, it's an official, a day where it really could happen.
Yeah.
I don't know if in 1937 Valentine's Day was as celebrated by Jewish immigrants as it is today. So I don't really know if that's exactly right, but it was exactly his due date, and it's when he was born.
No. Maybe your grandparents just fucked every night.
Could be. And my dad was a C-section, so he may have been late even.
Damn. You said, what did you say, 1937?
Yeah, my grandmother was 40 when he was born. He was my grandfather's second wife. So,
yeah.
So that meant probably the complications of her age made it a C-section, regardless of whether he was early or late.
Sure, but like C-sections were not quite.
Yeah, dangerous for her. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was a C-section in 1984.
I mean,
and I've been told that it was kind of a big pain in the ass back then.
was a C-section, and that was in the 1600s.
Yeah, but up until the last century, women died in childbirth probably as often as not, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it's funny too because when we were, my dad, just got through some cancer treatments, and the first time we were in the hospital for endoscopy to see why he couldn't swallow, they asked when the last time he was in the hospital was, and he goes 79, and they go, well, you're 81 now, and he goes, no, 1979. I had kidney stones, and they're like, well, what about before that? And he goes, nah, November 17th, 1937, I was a C-section. Like those were his hospital visits at that point.
Nice. I don't like. I should preface this with saying like I am doing okay dentally, but I don't go to the dentist nearly often enough. I went on the day after my birthday this year because I had some pain because I have a filling from when I was like 13 that is starting to wear away because it's been there for 25 years now. And so I'm having some pain with that, and I'm going to need to get that fixed. but like otherwise, my dental stuff is in pretty decent shape considering. But before my birthday, I went in. I remember this because I got laid off. So Trump got elected on Tuesday. I got laid off on Friday, and my last dental appointment before last month was the week of those two things happening. So that was 6 years ago.
So they get out the sonic chisel to clean your teeth?
Yeah. No. So anyway, so they were just like, oh yeah. I mean, I need to go again. I still haven't finished up everything yet. They had to price it out with insurance, which is great. But the time before that, so that was 2016, in November of 2016. The time that I went before that was when I had my wisdom teeth taken out, which was the day that George W. Bush was reelected in 2004. So I hadn't been in 12 years.
So it was, and I know you were probably a Republican then, but I was to say, like, whenever something painful happens in politics, you just go for personal pain that's worse to try to bury the pain.
Yeah, no, I was a Republican. I voted for Bush. Then I went to go get my wisdom teeth taken out.
Yeah.
I voted in Massachusetts, so my vote meant nothing. And I do, I do regret it, but so don't cancel me.
No, if you can't be accepted for change, then why bother trying?
Yeah.
So
anyway,
it's a topic I want to talk about. I'm going to add it to the Trello board. I have a topic.
Yeah.
I just need to research the topic better.
Have you been looking at all at the? So I'm adding all of them to the Google Doc, and then when I think one's coming up on deck in the next couple of weeks, I'm adding it to Trello board. The Google Doc's getting long.
I stopped looking at it because I'm looking at the Trello board.
Okay. Well, yeah, I don't care. I mean, you don't have to do it. Sarah just heard me say so anyways and just texted me so anyways.
Oh, what did Matthew say?
Yeah. Nothing this particular time. No, but the Google Doc, I probably have like 30 or 40 topics up on.
So speaking of anniversaries.
Yeah.
On the second anniversary of my bar mitzvah, so anniversary of tomorrow, was the second anniversary when I was 15. Just about to turn 15, so my birthday comes slightly after. I slept with two women for the first time. I mean, we were in sleeping bags, fully clothed, but I was at a music festival, and these two girls made the mistake of telling me that they shared a sleeping bag for warmth, like two beds pushed together as a camp, and their sleeping bags one on top of the other, like so it was a bedspread and a blanket, and they slept together for warmth. And of course, being a horny 15-year-old, I made all kinds of implications of what they were doing all night, and to prove that nothing was going on, they said you could even sleep in the bed with us. So I did.
How old were they?
They were both like 6 months younger than me, so I was about to turn 15, so they were 14 and
a half. Okay, I didn't know if it was like a wildly different age.
No, it was lots of groping going on for me, though, them smacking my hand and moving it away. And it's like, so I'm going to turn my back on you. Great, grope your ass. I don't care. So lots of playful groping. And one of them finally said, I don't care that you're doing this, but I need to sleep. And so she got out of the bed, and this other girl who was like 16 and a half took her place. And I started groping her, and she's like, "You don't even like me." I'm like, "I don't know. You're next to me." She goes,
"You got tits, don't you?"
She's like, do whatever you want. And then one of the girls just held my hand to her breast, so it was in one spot, and she knew where it was safe. Drifted off to sleep like a baby.
A girl that I liked in high school used to say, "They're just big sacks of fat. I don't give a fuck." And like, we were at a party like one time, like it was a theater party because we were theater kids, and she was like, "They're big sacks of fat. I don't care." And I was like, "If you don't care, can I just like squeeze one?" And she goes, "Yeah." And then like 5 of us took turns squeezing them, but we did get consent, unlike what you just said. So
they were consenting. They were just giggling and saying, "Can we go to sleep now? Can we go to sleep now?"
Yeah.
They invited me.
There's one really easy way to put me to sleep.
Yeah. I don't know if it would have been that easy. It's 15. It would take it.
It would have taken you 30 seconds to, although you might have reloaded, I guess.
Each time.
Yeah. So,
And I'll say for the record, I don't think I made out with either one of the girls that weekend. I did with both of them over the years later because we had long term um, relationships, of friendships, and in and out of relationship with them. But not that time. It was just, and it was over the clothes in October in Pennsylvania with multiple layers on, so I felt lots of cloth.
yeah. So, are there any other anniversaries that maybe not
Yeah. So we
relationship?
also
Sorry.
maybe we've tried to finish the relationship one, and we also celebrate May 4th, Star Wars Day, because that's the day I proposed to my wife officially in front of her parents. Got like father's approval and mother's blessing, and got down on one knee and proposed. And I did it
Nice.
on May 4th, so I would not forget the date.
Yeah. When Sarah had her first ultrasound with Logan, the ultrasound tech told us like, oh, the due date is May 4th, and I teared up, and the woman goes, "Oh, such a proud daddy," and Sarah goes, "It's Star Wars Day."
That's great. That's kind of like when we had an ultrasound for Jacob that from the angle it looked like he was going to be a girl. So it said on our records girl, and we assumed that he was going to be a girl. And then when he was born, it ended up being a C-section after 3 hours of trying to deliver. It turned out he was 9 pounds 3 ounces. He was upside down. And he was at a weird angle. Like 3 different reasons to make it difficult. So
Yeah.
he ended up being a C-section when Madhavi just ran out of energy. He was never in distress, never any danger. She just couldn't try anymore. And they were like, it's not going to happen. He went to
I was
C-section, and they pulled him out, and it said on his record everywhere, girl, 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 girl. So they hold him up, and babies are babies. The nurse next to me at Madhavi's head goes, "Oh, she's so pretty," and the nurse on the other side goes, "Oh no, he's so handsome." And we're like, "What?" And they hold him up, and we just see these huge swollen testicles. That's all we see. And I turned to Madhavi with a tear in my eye and said, "I need to return the Supergirl outfit that I bought." And the next day, I was at the Warner Brothers store in the mall, going, "Need to trade this for a Superboy onesie. Had a son, need a boys one."
Yeah. I was 9 pounds 13 ounces when I was born, and then I
You've lost
grew.
weight since then.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say then I grew arms and legs and a torso. I was all head.
It was very funny when Jacob was born at 9'3". When I went back to work and I was telling people whatever, and this one scientist I worked with was from China, and his name was Bajin, and he comes over and he goes 9'3". That's me. That's me. And I was like, what? He goes, it's Bajin. I was like, what? And he goes, apparently, I forget which word is which, but out of the words ba and jin, one of them is half, and the other one is
19.
it was a weight that is twice, it is 18.6 pounds. So Bajin is 9.3, which is what his weight was. Like he weighed like saying like weighing half a pound. He weighed half a jin, so he was Bajin, and that's why he was named that. And he goes, "That's your son too. Your son is Bajin too." And
That's cute.
and he used to, like the next couple of years that we worked together, he'd always come by and say, "How's Bajin doing?"
That's very cute. So no, I was going to bring up the idea of other anniversaries. Like, is there any that you, as your family, not just you and Madhavi, but your family celebrates
Um,
or commemorates at all?
I mean, nothing I can think. I mean, a lot of Jewish holidays are inherently anniversaries of events,
Yeah,
more often than not. But we don't really celebrate most of those. I cannot think of an anniversary of a thing that we celebrate other than like, and we don't even celebrate like our the Labor Day or Star Wars Day as much as we joke about it more than we celebrate. Oh, and a little
yeah,
bit, Madhav and I celebrate February 14th, not for Valentine's Day, but 214 was the English class that we met in. So we call it like it's one of our special days because
yeah.
214 was when we met.
Nice.
But we don't like do anything for it other than get drunk and have sex. I mean, we don't do anything official.
Weird. That's what I do on 214 too.
Yeah. So anyway,
This is a weird transition I'm about to make. We I wouldn't say celebrate, but we every so my grandmother died on February 10th of 1984. So I was born 6 months later. She didn't get to see any of her grandkids, but my mom goes to mass and has like a mass every single year. Like she'll go get like the mass dedicated to her mother's memory every single year, but every big one, like this year will be 40. Um, every big one, there's that, and then there's a big reception with like my cousins and my aunts and uncles and my grandfather.
It was reminding me of, like, in Jewish tradition, you light a candle on the anniversary of a loved
Yeah.
one's death. So I was like, oh, I know Catholics are big into candles. Maybe there's a real similar thing going on.
Yeah, I mean they do the candles too, like at the beginning of the mass a lot. But yeah, I mean,
Is a mass a
obviously,
lot
like
a rosary?
sequel, it's a sequel to Spam a lot.
Oh.
But yeah, so that's the big one that we do, which is weird because, and maybe it's because she was so young, and that's why we keep doing it. But we don't typically do it for everyone in the family that's died. I wonder if it's just because she was young. She was 46, almost 47.
Yeah.
I mean, which is weird because I remember my mother and her siblings all, when they would get to that age, being like, "I'm about to be older than mom ever was."
Like when your grandmother was my age, she was dead for 6 years.
Yeah, and I'm like getting closer to being older than my grandmother ever was.
Well, that's not unusual too, to be older
Yeah.
than your grandmother was. I mean, at
Yeah.
this age it is necessary, but I mean,
Yeah.
every generation tends to live longer, except mine probably, because my grandparents, except for my grandfather, who was an alcoholic and gambling addict and blah 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 blah, blah and smoked himself to lung cancer death. My other three grandparents were 92, 97, 103. So
Yeah.
I have long life genes. I don't know if my parents and I will outlive their parents.
Yeah. So one of the death anniversaries that I would have expected there to be something bigger in my family is, so in 1984, my grandfather lost his wife, his father, and his mother, and I was born. So bad year all around. But he would fucking hate that joke. But he no, but he so my grandmother died. His wife died in February. I want to say his father died in March or April, and then I was born in August, and his mother, and I only knew that she lived long enough to see me because she held me the one time I met her. She held me, and then they said that she didn't know who I was. She just knew that I was a baby because she had Alzheimer's, and then she died shortly after. And I didn't know much more about her death or her husband's death months earlier until I started doing some genealogy stuff on Ancestry.com, and they're not a sponsor of the show. But on Ancestry, I started doing some genealogy stuff, and Sarah and I got married on the 30th anniversary of her death, and like death anniversaries tend to be such a even if you don't do something for it, it's usually acknowledged in my family, and nobody fucking said a word. And there's no way that like they didn't
the
know.
slate clean.
Well, and I think it's possible that they were just like, we aren't. I mean, largely, my family is very good about knowing not to like
not going to
ruin shit for people. And so I think maybe that's what it was. But like, it was interesting, like because I remember it was only like we had been married 3 weeks or 4 weeks, and I was on Ancestry like looking up stuff, and I was like, my great grandmother died 30 years ago on our, like to the day before our wedding. So, also I was at going back to September 11th. It's got to be about, it was September 11th. I think is a day that anniversary, like, to me, that's probably the biggest like anniversary that's not part of my family. That everybody kind of, I don't want to say celebrates, commemorates, or
at least thinks about
reverence or whatever. But my friend, whom you've not met, she got married on the 20th anniversary of September 11th, and she sent the save the date about 6 months earlier, and it was her and her husband, like engagement
never forget,
photo
save the date
on a magnet, and it said save the date. And I took a picture of it when the magnet came on my fridge. I took the picture and sent it to her and said, "Don't worry, I will never forget." And and she was like participating in the jokes.
I mean, she
And
picked the date.
well, she picked the date, I think, because the place that she wanted to get married didn't have a previous
I
engagement
would
for
say
that
that's
day.
probably the day that most of those places are least busy.
Yeah. So, and I think they probably got a better deal on it, but
Like I would have my ceremony the day before, then my reception on that day.
yeah,
Like reserve the hall, but do the church the day before.
yeah. Well, it was a Saturday. But so
That's what I'm
Sarah,
saying. Like don't have your wedding anniversary be the 11th. On Friday night have the ceremony, and
yeah,
Saturday have the party. Like when I was bar mitzvah, Saturday was the bar mitzvah. Sunday was the religious part. Sunday was the celebration part. We did
yeah,
it in 2 days.
yeah. So Sarah was like, when we, do not start making jokes about this. I don't want you getting like, you're going to tell your friends these jokes and you're going to get a couple of
Is
laughs.
it an open
And,
bar? Because I'm getting bombed.
no, she was like, you're going to start telling these jokes and
Yeah,
you're
I'm
going to get
so
a couple.
tired. I'm gonna go home and crash.
She's like, you're going to get a couple of laughs. You're going to think that they're good jokes. You're going to get a little drunk or whatever at the wedding, and you're going to start making these jokes. And I was like, no.
Oh, if I make these jokes, I'll kill.
Yeah. And I just kept making the jokes. And and then I get a call from her one day, and she from the friend that's getting married that day. It was beaming pink on me. So I get a call from my friend, and she's like, "Hey, I want to talk to you about the wedding." And I was like, "Oh fuck, did I joke too much about it?" And she goes, "Hey, yeah, I don't know if you know this or not, but like I'm not really religious anymore, so I don't really want to have a religious person do my officiate my wedding, and so I don't really have anybody else that like is fits that bill. And you're in like obviously like I I was in your wedding, and I want you to be in my wedding, and so I was hoping you would officiate." And I'm like, "Yeah, that sounds really cool." Um, and her and I, our best friend is named Pat. Oh, you met Pat? Yeah. So Pat and I had this like thing going for a little while where we could seeing who could be a groomsman more times. And I've been a bridesmaid and a groomsman and obviously a groom. And now I've officiated, so I'm winning. And I told her that I'm like, I'm going to be beating Pat.
So the first time I ever officiated a wedding, it was two of Jacob's teddy bears from Build-A-Bear, Dr. Green
Nice.
Bear and Brown Bear,
Yeah.
and and uh, and friends, and we invited friends over. They brought presents. One person brought a bunch of little honey containers like you'd get at a diner or a Denny's or whatever. It was very thoughtful. And like a year later, that guy who brought the honey calls me up and says, "Yeah, Barbara and I are getting married." And I was like, "Oh, congratulations." He goes, "I'd like you to perform the ceremony." And I'm like, "Okay, I'll look into it," and like I went looking into, you can get ordained online. So apparently North Carolina since 1981 has had a law saying that doesn't count in North Carolina. You have to actually have a congregation. They don't let you
Yeah.
have just ordained online. I mean, 1981 it was mail order, but the same concept held true. And so I told him that, and he said, "Well, we want to do is we're going to get married a month ahead of time at like the courthouse,
Yeah.
so that we can get our passports done because we're going to go honeymoon internationally, and she wants to do it with my last name, but so we want everything to be done. So you'll just be doing like a commitment ceremony, no paperwork." I'm like, "Cool." He goes, "But we don't want anyone to know that. Let's not don't tell anybody that." I'm
Yeah.
like, "Sure, no problem." So we're at the rehearsal the night before, and like a friend was hosting a rehearsal party because they were actors and stuff, and they had a lot of money for dinner. So everybody was invited back to someone's house for a party. And at the party, everyone's saying, "So, where's your congregation? So, how are you ordained? So, what religion exactly are you?" And like, they don't want me to say that this is fake. So I'm just massively changing the topic every time someone asks.
You had told me the thing about officiating being that you had told me that law before, and I went to a wedding in Wilmington for one of Sarah's best friends met a guy from Raleigh in the Peace Corps, and they decided to get married down here, and they had a friend officiate for them, and I knew that, and I was like,
I have friends that did it too. I'm like the only way you would ever, and I guess you don't actually have to have a religious thing because they're official people who are authorized by the National Humanists, or so there's some humanist association, not American Humanists, but another one that they are recognized. So you can have a humanist officiant too.
Yeah.
But not like those, not an online thing. And
yeah, well, this guy was online.
Yeah, but I know people who've done that too, like friends of mine, like where a friend married, and I'm like, you're not supposed to do that. The only way it would ever come out would be if instead of getting divorced, one person challenged it and they pulled the records and checked the name and then tried to verify, who it was. Like, there's no process where it ever gets flagged unless that were to happen, which is kind of what happened in the original case. So somebody was getting divorced and they said, well, we're not even married. Your dad married us and he's not really a reverend. And that's how the original thing, they went to court over it. And in court, they said, yeah, you knew what he was, though, so it counts. And then the legislature passed a law and grandfathered any previous ceremonies, but said going forward, that shouldn't happen.
Yeah. So Sarah's friends went and got married ahead of time because they needed to they were leaving the country for a legal school program or whatever, and so they had figured that all out, but they were keeping it a secret.
Yeah.
And I said to Sarah, I'm like, well, just so you know, like, this is the way the law works. And she was like, well, everybody on the bride side is from Massachusetts and won't fucking know that.
Yeah, I mean, most people in North Carolina won't know that either.
And then she goes, and I doubt that everybody on the groom side is gonna know either. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. Sometimes I know it's probably hard to believe this, but sometimes I get really hung up on but that's not the right way. That's not the thing.
Yeah. So it's fun because I also married my best friend's daughter and her husband. I didn't marry them to me, but to each other. But they similarly have been married for almost 2 years already. He was in the military, so they rushed and got married to get on the waiting list for married quarters when he moved back to North Carolina. Because if they waited to get married till he was here, he'd be in the barracks, and it would take a year to get a place together. So when he finally came here, they rented a castle that's in Greensboro, I think, or either Greensboro or High Point, somewhere in that direction. And I did the ceremony, and my entire, like, they did vows for each other, but my vows that I did for them in ceremony was entirely references to comedy and science fiction movies, and not all romance. Some of them were just like the description of flying a spaceship in Firefly. I was like, she'll trust her and she'll always bring you home, lightly touching the ground. It's like just the description he gave of his ship. And then for their first anniversary, I took a bunch of pictures that they posted on Facebook from the wedding, took it to like Walgreens and had it printed in a book with the lines of my vows through all the pages with endnotes. And then the last 3 pages were all the references of where everything came from.
Did you guys do your own vows or no?
Yes and no. Yeah, so we had a Hindu wedding, so our vows were incomprehensible, and it was really us. It was So it was right, like translate. He did English translations, so there are actually 7 promises that I have to make to her while we walk around the eternal flame for hibachi, and then 3 promises she makes to me as we walk back around the other way, and then after that she sits on my left instead of my right, and we're married. So there was that at the ceremony, but at our reception, which we did a very northern style reception here in North Carolina, my fraternity brothers devoured all the food at the buffet, not knowing there was a sit-down dinner afterwards because I'm a northerner and that's how we do it. They're used to southern weddings where there's appetizers and cake. It almost killed them. But so we did our own vows because there was no ring exchange in the Indian ceremony because the wife gets a necklace and that's it. So we did our own vows at the reception and exchanged rings.
Nice. So we were given. So we got a justice of the peace that married us, and he had like a binder of suggestions. Like it was, if you want to go religious, this is some ways to do it, and if you want to do this, and not just with the the whole ceremony. We basically get to
That's how the
coordinate
Indian ceremony is done too. Because
Yeah,
every area of India is different. Literally, the Hindu priest had a binder and he said, "Do you do this part?" My in-laws are going through, going, "Yes, no, no, yes, no,"
yeah,
and he basically built our
yep,
ceremony based on different traditions.
right. And so the vows part had that too, where it was like, this is a common line. This is a line, like, and we went through that, but we didn't write our own. I was okay. I kind of wanted to write our own, but Sarah was like, I don't want. You're a writer.
You're a writer,
I
not
don't want
fair,
to. I
not
don't
fair.
want to like go
Madhav and I are
before
both
or after
writers.
you. So
Madhav and I met in English class, so we're good.
yeah, no, Sarah. I think I don't know. If I had written them, who knows?
You
But
could have written both. Here, honey,
I
say this
probably
to me.
offered. I don't remember. It's been so long. All right. Should we transition to episode 2?
So if we're finished, are we finished up with personal anniversaries? In
Yeah.
episode 2, we
Let's.
transition to more global stuff.
Yeah, that sounds good. But before so right now we're going to wrap up at part 1 of the anniversary episode. But while you're waiting for next week's episode to come out, you can go on. You can go on wherever you found this podcast, and you can give it a thumbs up
Say
or a
50
like or
episodes,
a
and we're so professional, and we know how to end it.
yeah.
You can,
Uh,
if you wanna, you could, somewhere maybe, I don't know.
hey, I'm working up to it here, so you can go on and like, subscribe, give
Hey,
us a
if you're watching on
review.
YouTube, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell for notifications. If you're listening on iTunes, make sure you give us a 5-star review because that's the most important one on iTunes. But actually, if you're in any podcast system that lets you rate us, please go ahead and do. And you know what? Set us to auto download so that every episode gets downloaded, even if you're not going to listen, because it really helps us out. Thanks so much. We really appreciate you taking the time to talk about the big anniversaries.
I did have one other thing I wanted to add, which was the Patreon stuff.
Well, that's
So
next.
obviously we have Patreon. We've talked about it before. If this is your first episode, you can go to patreon.com / talking about the big stuff. But as of this week, or for you all, and it's actually as of 2 weeks ago, uh, we have, so iTunes added or Apple Podcasts added a function for subscriptions as well. So if you want to get the uncensored versions, I'm uploading them there as well. It's the same pricing, $3 a month. All you have to do is hit the subscribe button in there as opposed to the follow button, and it will have you, just double check your password or whatever you have for your purchases. It's $3 a month, or you can do $30 a year. That was an option on there, which was cool. But it'll be all the same stuff that's on Patreon, which is uncensored versions of things. So
You could
yeah,
hear what Mike told me in the privacy of this record.
yeah. And if we get to enough subscribers on the 2 locations,
Then you
we've
can
got
see
some
our assholes more often than we do.
Yeah, we have some humiliating stories that I'm going to tell. So anyway, back to we will get back to you next week with more anniversaries and other big stuff. The preceding podcast has been a Chocolate Diamond Media LLC production. Copyright 2023, all rights reserved.